Nevada Governor Joe Lombardo has signed the bill that will bring Major League Baseball to Las Vegas. Fans out here are obviously devastated, obviously distraught. They don't want to see the Oakland A's leave. They don't want to see something that they love and cherish and have had for generations in their families torn away from them. Obviously people are hurt. Obviously people are upset. I'm going to speak more on that later, but first, I want to talk about MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred, who regularly demonstrates that he doesn't have a full understanding on this subject, even a lack of empathy. He opened his mouth and made things worse. Let's jump right into his comments.
I think that the owners as a whole understand that there has been a multi-year, approaching a decade effort where for the vast majority of the time, the sole focus was Oakland.
All right, well, let's just start right there. That's not an honest comment. The A's tried to move to Fremont. The A's spent a bunch of time trying to move to San Jose, even challenging MLB's antitrust exemption. In 2017, the A's announced that they were going to move to the Peralta Community College site before they had the proper approvals. In 2018, they said they wanted to build at Howard Terminal. 2018. That is when, in earnest, the A's focused on Oakland. Oh yeah, and there was a global pandemic, Rob.
Look, I believe me, and I hear from them. You know, I feel sorry for the fans in Oakland. I do not like this outcome. I understand why they feel the way they do. I think that the real question is, what is it that Oakland was prepared to do? There is no Oakland offer.
Okay, that is an extremely dishonest comment. And it's the reason why I've emailed every single person in Major League Baseball's PR office asking for an interview with Rob Manfred so we can dive into the specifics. But there is an offer in Oakland. They've raised $400 million in off-site infrastructure. They had an agreement with the County of Alameda to reimburse the A's for the on-site infrastructure. We're talking almost $800 million here. Oh yeah, by the way, the entire offer, the entire deal is spelled out right there. On the Oakland website, they have an FAQ for Howard Terminal that explains the entire deal. Right there, hiding in plain sight, Rob. Right there.
Okay, I mean, they never got to the point where they had a plan to build a stadium at any site. And it's not just John Fisher. You don't build a stadium based on the club activity alone. The community has to provide support. And, you know, at some point you come to the realization it's just not going to happen.
All right, so I could dissect that comment too. You can't make a deal with somebody who doesn't want to make a deal with you. And John Fisher, towards the end, it became obviously clear he didn't have the resources to build what was going to be a $6 billion development at Howard Terminal. I could explain all that further, but first, why don't we just let the Oakland mayor explain it herself?
You know, I know we're live on air, and so I'll just say it's totally false. There was a very concrete proposal under discussion, and Oakland had gone above and beyond to clear every single hurdle that the ownership put in front of us, including securing funding for infrastructure, providing an environmental review, and working with other agencies to finalize approvals. The reality in this is that the A's ownership had insisted on a multi-billion-dollar 55-acre project that included a ballpark, residential, commercial, and retail. Whereas in Las Vegas, for whatever reason, they seem to be satisfied with only 9-acre leased ballpark on leased land.
There you have it. Now here's my biggest beef right now. Every time Rob Manfred speaks out on this issue, he shows that he doesn't understand what's going on. And all it would take is a simple phone call to the mayor of Oakland to get this figured out. Sure, she could call Rob Manfred too, but Rob Manfred said himself he was going to reach out to Oakland Mayor Thao after she got elected. That phone call never came. During negotiations, the A's asked Oakland Mayor Thao not to reach out to Commissioner Rob Manfred. She honored that request. Now that the deal's blown up, Rob Manfred should still clear the air. We're talking about ripping a team out of a market. They won 4 championships here, Rob. You can't just take something away from the fans without any explanation. And if that explanation comes, it needs to be rational. It needs to be something that makes sense. It needs to show that you actually understand the situation out here. And I've never once heard you say anything that leads me to believe you understand the situation out here.
If they had proposed a similar project in Oakland as what they have proposed in Las Vegas, I can guarantee you that Oakland would have the construction would have already began, but that wasn't the case here. So why is the threshold so high here relative to Las Vegas?
If the A's wanted to build a 9-acre ballpark at Howard Terminal without residential use, commercial, all the other things, a ballpark and a parking lot, no ancillary development, just like Las Vegas, they could have been done with construction. They could have had this thing going already. Adding residential to an industrial zone, fighting over affordable housing, condo transfer taxes, all the other things made this project not pencil out for the A's. Yet in Las Vegas, it's just a 9-acre ballpark on land they don't own, the ballpark they won't own, they'll have no ancillary development, and they have to build a dome, which is far more expensive. They could have done all that here. All right, let's get into something else. Rob Manfred commented on the A's fan reverse boycott. Honestly, I found this comment insulting. I'm just going to let you listen to it.
You know, I mean, it was great. It's great to see what is this year, you know, almost an average Major League Baseball crowd in the facility for one night. That's a great thing.
Oh boy, where do I start with this one? Okay, look. A's ownership left this franchise for dead. They raised ticket prices, they dumped the roster, they spent a bunch of time in Las Vegas. This franchise was left for dead. For one night, A's fans resurrected this team. A's fans packed the Coliseum. A's fans got 28,000 people to show up, with many, many more stuck in traffic outside. You wouldn't believe how many messages I was getting from people saying they were stuck for hours in traffic because there was also a K-pop concert at the arena. They easily could have put 30,000 in there. 28,000 made it in. Guess what, Rob? Your capacity in Las Vegas is going to be 30,000. Now's a Vegas sellout.
We have the fan base. We have what is needed. We have the political will. We want to be in good partnership with MLB and make sure that the A's are rooted here. And if it's an expansion team that goes to Vegas or under a new ownership here in the town, then let's have a conversation about that. You know, I think that there is a win-win here.
Okay, so what's next? Where does this process go? I'll provide you with one last comment from Rob Manfred, one that I will not tear apart. Respectfully, Mr. Commissioner, if you just respond to my emails, calls, or just do an interview with somebody else from this market that actually knows what's going on, I'll take that too. Here's one last comment from Rob Manfred. What do the A's need to do to complete the relocation process?
They have to submit an application. There are pretty rigorous requirements about the application. You have to talk about the market you're leaving, the efforts you've made there, the market you want to go to, why it's better. It then goes to a relocation committee, has to review the application and make recommendations on things like operating territory, home television territory. That recommendation comes to me, goes to the executive council. They ultimately make recommendations to the clubs, and then there has to be a 3/4 vote. How was that for shorthand? Pretty good, huh?
Yeah, he did great. Anyways, there's a lot of steps remaining here. We'll see where it goes. Again, I will weigh in far more extensively at a later time on everything I'm thinking about this deal and how Vegas really didn't even want the A's. But they still got them, thanks to the Nevada legislature. Much more to come, much more ahead. The fight isn't over, but it doesn't look good for Oakland now. So, we'll continue on this channel and all over the place. Don't forget to subscribe, like, follow me on Twitter. I'll be all over the place as always. See ya.
We in Oakland now know better than anyone that there is a long pathway between passing state legislation, which we have, and shovels in the ground. And so I do firmly believe that the A's belong here in Oakland. And more than 20,000 fans this week agreed. More than 27,000 fans this week agreed. They showed up in a huge reverse boycott, which was extremely explosive and electrifying. And if the owners and league want a team in Vegas, sure, Vegas deserve a team, but they should also approve an expansion team and let the A's stay in their home of more than a half a century.